Hi, welcome or welcome back. This is the New Year Review. Here we talk about book and all bookish contents. So, I am actually starting this video over. Yeah, because I started the video and then I got interrupted with several things going on around me. So, tonight I'm going to try to focus and get this list done. So, I'm coming to you today with a couple of things that I want to share with you. One is my book list for my book reading list for 2026. Now, at the time while I'm recording this, we are not out of 2025, but these are books that I have been thinking about reading for the longest, and I have not put them in my reading stash. Some of them are new books, and some of these are reprised because I didn't get to them when I said I would get to them. But anyway, the goal of this challenge is for myself to focus on books that are in my TBR that have been there for a long time and I have not gotten to them. So, what I've been doing for the past couple of years is challenging myself to get to get through all the books, or at least 80% of the books in my home library. And so I'm constantly buying more books, but I'm still reading books at home. But I want to kind of, make sure that I'm not acquiring more books than I'm reading. So, with that, most of the books that I do have on this list, I've already owned. And there were three books that I want to get, and I may get them by the end of this year or early next year and add them to my challenge. But I do want to get them because they are a part, so I'm sorry, of the books that I'm reading here. So let's get to this reading challenge I have for 2026 and share with you how I am incorporating that into my yearly challenges. So let's get to these books. So I want to start off with um, a, I guess, a series that I started in 2020, this year in 2025, and I have not completed it yet. The goal was not to complete it this year, but the goal was to actually get started. Um, Kennedy Ryan, Before I Let Go, the Skylar series, I think it's called Skylar or the Skyland series. Let me double check. The Skyland series. So I did read Before I Let Go, and the goal was to read the second one, which is This Could Be Us, before May. Never got to it. I don't even think I read Before I Let Go by May. I think I read it like after the third book came out. But when I read the first book, fell in love with it, and I said to myself, what took me so long? So the book that I'll be reading is This Could Be Us, and then her last book in the series, Can't Get Enough. And so for this actually book, the books that I'm sharing now, I'm just telling you what I'm reading. I'm not going into details about each book because I will do that over time. The next book I'm adding to this 26 or 2026 challenge is It's Not All Downhill From Here, Terry McMillan. Terry McMillan is one of those authors that, for me, it can be a hit or miss. I've liked some of her work, but not all of her work. But I saw this book a few years ago, never got to it, and I was able to acquire it for a really good deal. So I will be adding this on my list for 2026. The next one is Born in Blackness. This has been on my list, off my list, on my list, off my list. I'm going to put it on the list for next year for sure because there is a part two to this series. So, Howard French or Howard W. French, Born in Blackness. It is about, well, let me just, I'm not going to get descriptions because I have a video that I'm going to share in my book check. But To understand the world we live in today, this book is a must read. That's what it says. That's one of the blurbs. But it really go over the historical contents of the role that Africans played in establishing the United States. For that's kind of like a summary of it. The next one is one that when it first came out, I wanted to get the book, and then I forgot about it for some reason. But this author has authored a couple of books that I like. This book, a net of small fish, a novel by Lucy Jungo. So this is a story. This is a novel based off uh, a real story, or a real situation. I don't know how you would say that, but it's based off of true events. And so we will get into that when I do the book discussion, but this is going to be on my list. Including with that list, I do have a series that I do want to introduce next year, talking about, I guess, pressing issues that I want to focus on. Um, Poverty by America. Poverty by America. Matthew Desmond. I've read his book Evicted, and I actually listened to the audio book of this, but I want to give it a physical read because I do want to annotate it and do a book chat about this book in particular. Along with that one, I have There Is No Place for Us, Working and Homelessness in America by Brian Goldstone. And what really struck me to do these two books together is because of certain situations that we are dealing with right now with our government, and there was a government shutdown. And I'm not on social media probing, but there were a lot of negative comments about people receiving public benefits, and I think there's a misunderstanding of who received the benefits and why. And so the one thing that we do not discuss, and I don't want this video to morph into this conversation, this is for a later date, is that our federal wage is $7.25. Let that sit with you. $7.25. I'm not saying that everybody makes $7.25. $7.25 is the minimum they can pay you to work. Imagine being a mom or just a single person, no one to take care of, and having the wage of $7.25, and you working 40 hours a week. And how corporates get tax credits to pay you little or nothing. See, those are discussions that we are not having. I have not read this book, but that is a pressing problem that we have in the United States. And so I would like to explore books that explore those subjects in 2026. So yes, I will be reading these two and having book chats on both of them. The next book I want to get to is a book that I said I would read in my summer haul, and I never got to it. And I don't press myself. If I don't get to it, if it's in my home library, I know eventually I will get to it. But I am going to make it I'm gonna be mindful about getting to it this time around. Ready for a Revolution: The Life and Struggles of Stokely Carmichael. I like to say Kwame Ture. This is a biography, or is it an auto? I think it's a biography. But read this years ago, and when I read it, it stuck with me, but it kind of didn't stick with me. I do want to read this again, and this time, take more copious notes, because the pleasure of reading is to remember what you read. And so this would definitely be a top priority for me to read coming soon. Another book that I want to definitely challenge myself to read is Sweet Land of Liberty: The Forgotten Struggle of the Civil Rights Movement of Civil Rights in the North by David J. Sergio. I've mentioned this book several times on my channel, and the reason why this is so important right now is because a lot of the civil rights laws that my ancestors, and I have actively participating in maintaining, have fought for, has been decimated by this current government that we have. And so, what took, Africans and descendants of slaves over 400 years to establish some type of, not even an even playing field, but some form of equality and fairness, has literally been dismantled in front of our eyes in less than a year. And a lot of this goes to the lack of understanding of how slavery and how capitalism and how the key players and how we fought for those equalities has been long gone. Jim Crow is still alive and well today, and I think when we think about the antebellum slavery, we think about the antebellum South, but slavery was rampant throughout the United States, you guys, and that is something that I will constantly always say on this channel when I'm talking about um, this era of history, is that it was rampant, and we are repeating those lessons that you know black and brown people have fought for, because we feel like our vote didn't matter. Yeah, so the book starts off good. I did start it. I'm not going to continue it because I do have several other books that I need to finish without by the end of this year. So this is definitely on my list for 2026. I look forward to having lively book discussions about that. Another book that I am kind of like tying into one of my challenges is my Mammoth Book Challenge. So, in 2025, I challenged myself to read one Mammoth book every quarter. Now, a Mammoth book is constituted as a book 800 pages or more, 800 reading pages or more. And so, what I plan on doing this year is to incorporate a couple of the Mammoth books into my 26 of 2026. And so, at number 10, we have Against the Day, Robert Sincho. Hi. I have a visitor, you guys. Okay. And so this is a whopping, oh, it's over 1,000 pages, you guys. This is a whopping 1,085 pages. So I don't know what quarter I will be reading this, but this is definitely going to be one of my Mammoth Book challenges. I think I'm going to do like 2 nonfictions and 2 fictions, but we'll see. We'll see. The next one that I wanted to add to this list is one of many wellness books that I wanted to prioritize for next year, but this one in particular. This book has proven to be, I think, one of those books that I will always go back and refer to. Now, I listened to this one on audiobook, and so I want to take time out to do like a mixed media, listen to it on audiobook, and of course read it, because there were some areas in here that I wanted to highlight, but just because I have it on audio already, I already own it. I'm just going to go ahead and do a mixed media. And the book is called Behave: The Biology of Humans and Our Best at Our Best and Our Worst by Robert M. Spolsky. He has another book that I have, I think, is Why Zebras Don't Have Ulcers. Great book. I recommend you guys read it. Um, his topics are he. This is a big book. Don't get me wrong, but the way he tends to talk about his topics, he makes it easy and friendly for those of us who are not highly have like a scientific vocabulary understand the importance of the subject that he's talking about. So I cannot wait to delve into that one. Now that will be a science one. One book that is two, but I'm going to have to think about the second one. But I do want to read The Private Life of Chairman Mao, Dr. Lee Zizusu. Hizusu. This is a translated work by Anne L. Thurston. I got that one right. So I don't want to butcher up anybody's name. Heard many things about it, and I cannot say all good. I've seen documentaries on Mao, and so yeah, I'm just anxious to get into this and read this, and yeah, give you guys my take backs and what I've read. So we'll see, but definitely on my list of books to read for 2026. Mm. I had to put this on pause because I wanted to make sure that this is not 800 pages. Although it's a chunky monkey, it's not 800 pages. It's 600 about 37 pages, so it doesn't meet the requirement of a mammoth read, because I was going to say I could just have this for my mammoth read, but it's not. So we won't be reading that one. I mean, we will be reading that one, but it's not part of my mammoth challenge. The one thing I did this year, which I don't want to do, well, I'm going to try to prevent, is having too much of a heavy load of books that I want to read and not balance it out. And so, along with that, you're going to see a lot of lighter, fluffier reads. This is only going to cover half my list, and then the latter part of this video will cover, or part two. We don't know how we're going to do this yet, okay? We'll cover, the other part of the list, or the list in its entirety. We don't know how this video is going to go, you guys, but one book that I do want to read in the physical text, I did listen to the audio of this as well. Michelle Obama, A Life by Peter Slevin. I've listened to the audiobook of this. And so this year I want to, in 2026, I want to try to tackle and read the book, the physical copy, of course. Now, this is a biography of her. It's not an auto. So I read, let me see, a biography I read this year was John Lewis, A Life, and I'll be doing a review on that one sometime in the future. But it's different when you have someone writing about your life, because basically they're researching, they're researching your life through newspaper clippings, maybe, like oral testimony of things that you've said, interviews from friends and family, colleagues, people who know you. It's not, and it's weird because, even in the best situations, sometimes when someone does that type of work on a subject, they do not highlight them in the best light. And so, not to get away from that, but most biographies, I could definitely do a contrast of where I feel like the author was a little bit more harsh or prejudiced towards the subject that they're writing about. So, um, even though it's been a long time, I cannot wait to delve into this so I can, kind of like go over um, some critiques that I feel like the author did not quite hit on about um, our famous, our former first lady. And so I have one more book, the Israel and the Appomattox. This story right here, the Appomattox, this book right here is about, I think, Thomas Jefferson's, one of his last living relatives. Yes, Thomas Jefferson condemned slavery, but denied that whites and liberated blacks could live together in harmony. Jefferson's younger cousin, Richard Randolph, and 90 African Americans set to prove the sage of Monticello wrong. When Randolph died in 1796, he left the land for his formidable bondman, Hercules White, and for dozens of other slaves. Freed, they could build new lives there alongside their white neighbors and other blacks who have gained their liberty earlier. And so this tells the story of this subject right here. It'll be interesting to read this. The Southern Experiment in Black Freedmen from the 1790s through the Civil War. Marvin Patrick L. I picked up this book, I would say, was it this year or last year? And it's been on my radar to read. And so I'm definitely going to get to this in 2026. This will probably be one of my earlier reads. But yeah, I do want to get to this soon. So for now, this is half of my list for 2026. And hopefully, I wouldn't have to change anything or swap anything, but we'll see. Because we are still in 2025, and I still have books that I'm debating. Like the books that I don't finish, I don't know if I'm going to put them back in, or we'll see. We'll see. It's just a lot of things I have to think about. But more than likely, the goal is to constantly read. So as I'm like adding to my list and mood reading and moving things around, I want to take you guys along with me. So if you have any books that you think I should be reading in 2026, let me know. And if there's something that I'm constantly like, if I'm really considering it, based on the subjects that you saw here, I am very flexible. Let me know and I will look into it. But until then, you guys have a beautiful day wherever you are in the world. Bye bye.